All right, now we just need to do a couple more things to get our ad in place, looking good. And I won't go through everything. I don't want to bore you, but I will go through, the few little finishing touches here, and then I'll show you what I come up with for the final ad and how to export it. So what we're going to do right now, again, we need to continue with our structure here. We need to find a home for this text down here, and I don't really want this bullet list hanging out in the trees. So I'm going to click once on this photo, hit Command T, and I can see that I have a lot more photo below here. In fact, let me undo that or just hit return. I'm going to hit the letter F, which cycles through my screen mode. So we were right here on this first one. There's 3 different views. I'm going to hit F to get to this next one, and that way I can actually scroll up a little bit and see more. Now I'm going to hit Command T. Anyway, I can see here that there's a lot more image down below. So what I'm going to do is click and drag up a little bit, holding Shift, and that way it keeps it in a straight line. So I want enough space below to kind of put my text here, but not lose a lot of what's going on up here. So now I'll hit return or hit enter to commit that transition, that transform. And ride the Hiawatha. This probably needs to be in there, but it doesn't need to be that huge. So I'll bring this down a little bit. And I'm going to play with this title. And a cool effect you can play with is the blend mode. So with this title selected, I'm going to double click, not on the name, I don't want to rename it, and I don't want to edit the text, but I kind of off to the side on that layer, I'm going to double click and it'll bring up my layer style. And what I can do is change how it blends with the underlying layer. So I'm going to bring this dark up a little bit, and what's going to happen is it's going to start cutting into my text. Pretty cool, huh? So, sorry, that was super cheesy, but it is, it's really cool. So I'm going to drag this back just a little bit. I'm going to hold down Alt and split those so I can kind of get more of a smooth transition here between the darks and the lights, and bring it right about there. Awesome. Love it. I think it's great. We'll leave it like that. Just to add some visual interest, maybe nudge it up just a touch here. There we go. Just little things like that that kind of help your ad stand out. So now I'm going to work on this text a little bit, and we could do the same thing here where we knock out the text behind their helmets, maybe with a mask. So I could click right here, bring it down, click once, make sure we're on that layer, and then click down here on this mask. So we're going to add a mask to it. So anything I paint with black will hide, anything white will reveal. So we're painting with black on top. I'll hit B to get my brush tool, hit the left bracket key, the one next to the letter P, and now I can, to size it smaller, and now I can kind of paint over this to bring his head back in front of the text. And this is just a quick selection here, so you'll see my text isn't affected. I've just got a mask going on, and if I hold on Shift and click on it, it turns that off. So it's just a way to bring them in front of that text here. And I don't like this list up top. I'd rather it be down a little bit. So we can bring all these down below and start making them smaller and refining the layout a little bit more. And then the next thing I'll probably want to do is we could leave it like that, leave it nice and big and bold and beautiful as far as the image is concerned, kind of uncluttered. I'll clean this up a little bit and I'll show you what I come up with. Or we could maybe add more photos in here. So what I might do is I'll hit the letter U to get my rectangle tool, and it doesn't matter what color I'm drawing with. I just want to draw a few rectangles in here. Now hold on Alt, click and drag, holding down Shift to drag a copy perfectly centered. Alt Shift and then click. Now I've got 3 boxes. I'll Shift click all of them, Command T, and drag it up to fit within my guides here. So now I've got boxes that I can use as a mask. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to jump over to that ad real quick. And I just jumped into that photos folder that we had earlier because I want to grab some photos that kind of show off what the trail really is. So here's a nice one where you can really see one of those sky bridges. So I'm going to click once on this rectangle. I want to put that one in the middle. I'll jump back over to Finder and I'll click and drag over into here. And I'll scale it down just a little bit. I'll hit return. And now coming over into my layers panel, I'm going to hold between those layers, hold down the Alt key, and then click, and the layer above will be masked by the layer below. So there's one image in there, and I can scale it to however I want. And now let's grab a couple more real quick. I'm going to grab one for the left side, so I'll click on that, so I'm right there. That way when I bring in my photo, it'll come in right above that shape. So here's another nice one. I'll click and drag over there. Hold on Shift and click. There we go. Hold on Alt to mask that, and I can refine this so that you'll notice the mask shape stays still, but I can scale and transform the shape to fit. And now here, let's grab another one. And I could grab that one. It looks a lot like the other ones we have. Maybe we'll grab one of this kid. Let's see, which one do I want to use? How about, yeah, we'll use this guy. All right, here we go. I'm just going to click one more time, make sure I'm on that rectangle layer, so when I bring that photo in, it's at the top. Resize it a little bit. Hit return. Hold on Alt and click between to mask it. And now I've got 3 images right across the top. Now the next issue is they don't really stand out and they blend in pretty closely because of the trees behind it. So there's a couple solutions we can do. One would be to maybe put a stroke around it. So I'll click on that rectangle layer and then I'll double click off to the side here and I will add a stroke layer style, and we can see it adds a nice stroke. Maybe I'll change the size of it and we can play with some different options there, but I'll leave that alone for now. And then I can take that layer style, we can turn that on and off. So we just added a layer style to that shape. I can hold on Alt on that effects layer, click and drag down to the next one and automatically apply it to the next layer. Another way to do that is to right click, copy shape attributes, or copy layer style. Actually, this is a layer style. Click back on this other shape that doesn't have it yet, right click, and we want to paste the layer style. There we go. So a couple ways to work there. So that's one way to set these images off from the background. Another way we could do it would be to come back and grab these, and I'm having a hard time seeing all my layers, so I'm just going to tear this out. And we can shift click between all those layers and put them in their own folder. And I could apply maybe a drop shadow to help it stand off a little bit further. And it's kind of tough to see right now. I can make it a little bit darker, maybe make it spread out a little bit more, and you're starting to see where it adds that drop shadow. Now personally, I'm not a huge fan of where this is going, but I did want to show you at least one way you can make this stand off of the background. So I'm going to turn off that drop shadow, though I don't like where it's going. Maybe we put a layer below it. So I'll command click. That way I get a layer below the one I had selected. And maybe I will put some sort of shape behind there. So maybe I'll draw a selection here and hit D to get my default colors and hit command delete to fill it with my background color. And now it's filled with a white bar. So also not quite the right fit for this. So let me jump over to their website real quick. Let's see what they did. They have, you know, this nice texture in the background. So we could mimic that texture or find something really similar. I'm going to exit what font here. But I'm just going to take a quick screenshot just to kind of grab it as a sample. Command Shift and Command Shift number 4. And then if I hold the space bar, I can move the selection around to get it perfect. I'm just going to hold down Control to copy it to my clipboard. Come back over here, Command V to paste it, Command T to free transform. And I'm going to rotate it, holding down Shift so it's perfectly at 90-degree angles. And I'm going to scale it up a little bit. So this might not print that well, but at least I can see if it's a direction I want to pursue, if this is going to work and help make it stand off a little bit. So that's another way we can do that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. I've given you a lot of tips and tricks. I'm just going to work through this ad, kind of finish it up to where I would want to ship it, and then I'll bring it back up and we can learn how to export this for press.